We are on air.
Nobody talk. Nobody talk.
No, we have to like be like we're already in the middle of a conversation that's super deep. So I had Whitney and Michael visiting last weekend, staying with me. Or
Oh
2 weeks ago.
yeah. What did you guys do?
2 weekends ago, I guess. It was great. We went to a bunch of cool places. We went. We had like a amazing Saturday. So we went to lunch at Nikki's Sty. What's happening?
Nobody talk. Nobody talk.
I'm getting whoever has stop it.
He's watching it.
We can hear all that.
Why can you hear that?
I don't know, but I can hear it.
Okay, come on. There's no viewers.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it too.
Anyway.
That's great.
I'm still hearing it.
Really?
What?
Oh shit! It's my computer.
The worst podcast ever.
Oh my god.
All right.
Don't ever watch
We went to this place called Randyland, which is run by this guy called Randy, and he's just like his goal is to run the happiest place on earth, and he has this like big house with a big yard, and it's all happy with happy colored chairs and junk and stuff. It's super cool. He's a really cool artist. And then we went to Bicycle Museum, which is like one of the largest bicycles collections in the world. And then we went to Saturday Night Magic with my friends. We played Magic all night. And then we went to hang out with my friends. And then after that, we went to Art All Night, which is the thing that happens in Pittsburgh where anyone can bring their art. It's like a giant warehouse. And like 3-year-olds, parents bring art run by their kids, and professional artists bring their art. Like anyone can bring anything they want, and they will display it for a night.
Cool.
It's 24 hours of that, and we went to like 4 a.m., which is when like the weird crowd is there. So that was pretty cool. And then we went to the diner and had breakfast, and we went to bed at like 7 a.m. That's pretty good.
Were you guys on amphetamines? 7 a.m. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I know. I felt so young. I was like,
I know.
what's happening? I'm not supposed. My body's not supposed to be able to take this anymore.
What sets of Magic did you guys play?
We drafted Cans and whatever the other new one is. Cans of Tarkir and Dragons of Tarkir. You know, they're like Magic is transitioning currently, so they're going from a 3-set block to 2-set blocks.
Mm-hmm.
But
Why?
the transition set, I don't know. There's a full explanation. Like Mark Rosewater did the full thing. It actually makes kind of sense. But I think
It's
part of it is
something about,
actually
like-
standard rotates faster now, which is kind of crappy.
Why?
So it's it
Or how?
rotates faster.
I think it rotates in like a year and 8 months instead of like 2 years or something like that.
So are they releasing more cards or more sets on the whole,
I don't think so.
or is it the same or less?
I think it's about the same amount of cards. I think there's no core set anymore. I might be making that up. And I think... So basically the main thing is they're going from 3 set blocks. So instead of a block being 1 set into expansions, I think it's like 1 big and 1 small.
Mm-hmm.
And so this transition set, which was 3, I think currently like the last 2, like they're meant to be drafted the first and the second, and then the second and the third on their own. So the current drafting, like the current sealed block, the equivalent of block draft is just the 2, like the main set and the last one, the second and the third. It's kind of weird, but it's good. It's pretty cool. There's some okay mechanics. There's some weird mechanics, like Megamorph, which is
I heard
just
about that.
morph, but you get a +1 counter. It's very exciting.
Yeah, it seems like somewhat of a misnomer.
Yeah, it's.
You're like Megamorph. That's gonna be huge.
Yeah. It's,
Oh,
Wait.
it's +1.
And
Actually, you can't get smaller than that in counters.
Well, you can get -1 counters.
Slightly enhanced morph.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. It was very fun. That's a fun weekend.
Cool.
Yeah, and sealed play is always so much fun. Just, I don't know. I love, like the way Magic has everything set up at this point. Where like there's so many sealed formats and they're all fun, and it's like you can get together with friends and organize like a quick tournament, and it's just so good, so good.
Yeah, for a while I was helping a friend of mine prepare for team limited tournaments. So he would just have like, or we would crack like 12 packs or something a piece, or however many packs is like you would get in a team sealed, I forget. And then we would make 3 decks out of it, and then play the 3 decks against each other, which is really fun. It's team limited. Team limited's fun. It's like we built these pools in so many different ways. Like we got so much playtime out of like just 1 card pool each. We must have rebuilt like 3 times each.
The problem with that stuff with limited is like if you really want to dedicate yourself to limited, you need to know the sets so well. Like it makes such a big difference to know like every possible white removal the other guy could be playing or whatever, right? And, like I just don't have that knowledge, and some of the people I play with do have that knowledge, so it's like I'm clearly at a disadvantage.
Yeah, and having not played the set at all like before doing or like helping my friend, it was definitely wasn't building optimally in the first couple tries. So it's huge. It seemed like a big learning curve in general for being able to build a good deck in that format.
Yeah, and I had my first like I used to play quite a bit of Magic, and I used to like be much better at Magic than I am now, and I think Hearthstone has made me worse at Magic, because like I would put these cards in my deck that I'm like, AoE removal, this is amazing, like 2 damage to every creature, I love it, and then I would end up stuck with this thing in my hand, and I'm like, shit, I forgot I'm not playing Hearthstone, I'm playing Magic.
Like, the mechanics are totally different.
Like it was just like, I don't know. I had my first experience of like, oh shit, I misjudged this card. I misjudged this card completely because I was thinking Hearthstone, not Magic.
Yeah, but it's the difference between damage that stays there, essentially, or having to kill a creature or deal enough damage in a single turn.
And it's also choosing who you attack versus assigning blockers, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, in that sense, Hearthstone is a much simpler game, for better or for worse.
Yeah. Cool.
Kind of in that vein, I went to a Netrunner tournament last week.
Oh shit, you're like deep into this world now, man.
Well, I mean, I had only really played once before. I bought some cards on eBay, and I just like net decked a couple decks, and then just showed up to this tournament. And it was like 15 people, and I didn't come in last. I was just in the middle somewhere. I went 2-2, but yeah, it was great to like play against people that had been playing for a long time, and I just like finally began to learn how this game is like actually played.
Do you have a preference of Hacker or Corp?
I'm not sure. My instinct leans towards Runner, I think, just because of the Runner decks seem a little more interesting to me. But as a player that typically likes to play Control, that side of the Corp I think is really appealing. So I think I just haven't explored enough to really like find a core deck that the core deck that I brought to the tournament was not great. So I had a lot more fun with my Runner at that moment. But I think if I found the right deck, I would enjoy it more.
Yeah, it's interesting with like living card games, like with net decks, you can kind of just like you don't have to do anything to get the like as long as you could just look up what is the best runner deck in the base game, right? And best is sort of subjective, but you can just be like, okay, that looks good. I'll take all those cards to a tournament and try it out. Like you don't have to acquire them if other than just having the set. Kind of nice.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that they've done a really good job with just the overall way they've decided to design their like expansions, which they call data packs. And I think they have things called deluxe expansions as well, which are bigger releases. But like a lot of the cards that were released in the core set are still the most like just powerful cards. Like they haven't power creeped on those cards in any way. And I've heard other people I've heard people express this in podcasts before, and now I believe it, which is to say that the expansions tend to release cards that aren't more powerful. They're just different. They like allow for different strategies to exist, and so they've done a good job so far, and it's still like pretty early, I suppose. It's only been around for a couple of years, but they've seemed to have succeeded in not creating kind of like a metagame where there's just a standout deck, because it doesn't seem like there's any consensus online. Yeah, which is great. So it just kind of means you find a deck that you like to play and just get really good at that, and then bring that to everything.
Yeah, but how do you know like what the metagame is if like the environment is sort of like it's almost like it's kind of always the same except until they release something. It's like it's similar but different from CCGs, right? It's like I don't know. Can you comment on the metagame?
Only like probably like on a surface level, yes. I mean, I kind of see this a similar thing that you see in other CCGs or in general, or just other kind of competitive card games where the metagame does sort of change over time. So you might see a trend in a particular place, but that trend is not necessarily going to exist everywhere. And so a particular location will kind of just have people will develop a preference based on the kind of communities that are still pretty small. So, and I think too, like maybe a reason why the like best decks haven't surfaced is like maybe there's just like not that much data, because I still think the Netrunner communities are pretty small and the tournaments aren't like super big. And I think there have been moments where like certain IDs have been felt like there was somewhat of a predominance of those type, but it seems to be kind of swept away just as quickly as they arrive.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it sounds exciting. It's like the early days of Magic, right? When you're just like playing against your local scene, and you're like, oh, everyone's been playing black lately. I'm just gonna put this black hoser in my deck. And like you can just do little, little nods like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't think any of my 4 opponents played the same ID against me. When I played like you play runner and core, and I don't think I played against the same one twice in like all 8 games.
Cool.
Which is kind of crazy. Yeah.
I've been like enjoying incredibly the like following the evolution of the Hearthstone metagame on Twitch. To me, is like a whole new world. It's like I don't have to like follow the metagame. Like I don't even have to experience the metagame myself by going on the ladder and playing with my own decks, or even going on Reddit, and I can just like go on Twitch and see what people are playing, and like it's amazing how what people play on Twitch affects the metagame itself.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I remember that. It's like
yeah, there's 2 or 3 streamers who just drive the metagame, and like if Trump is playing Hunter on stream, everyone is playing Hunter on the ladder, right? And like I don't know, like to me, like the effect of like being able to like follow the evolution of the metagame, like day by day on Twitch, it's just an amazing experience. I love it so much.
I have distinct memories of multiple times when I was laddering in Hearthstone very actively. There would just be these moments where like Priest would be this horrible deck, and then all of a sudden everyone's playing Priest. They're like the top of the ladder, and you're just like, what's happening? Like, why is everyone playing priest? And then like, and then someone's just like, oh, Trump like got top 100 with a priest deck.
Yeah.
And now literally everyone's playing it. So it's just
Yeah.
like you're gonna play against that like 3 out of 4 times, and that just happens constantly.
Yeah.
It's. I feel like Twitch has like a stronger influence on the metagame than like online websites or tournament results.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't feel like anyone gives a shit about tournament results or like.
I do.
Well, like in the sense that it influences the metagame.
Right, but that's the thing. Like the tournament metagame is very different from the ladder metagame.
Can I interrupt in the background?
That too. What?
My connection's
Crickets?
far. Yeah, do you guys hear crickets?
Yeah, I mean I hear like a.
All right, I'll keep my microphone muted. Also, like, yeah, like you're laggy and you keep like freezing for 10 seconds every 60 seconds. So
Me?
both of you guys. No, it's just my fault. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
we have 4 viewers, so let's keep it rolling.
Woo! Woo!
Whoa!
We have 3 streamers and 4 viewers. We have more viewers than people are
Actually,
in this room, right?
Wow.
5 viewers now.
That's
Anyway,
All right.
the watershed.
Yeah, so like the tournament metagame is completely different from the ladder metagame, and the ladder metagame is completely different in which part of the ladder you're in and which time of the month it is. It's beautiful. Like I just love how volatile it is and how like every week it's just like it's just it's insane. Like
What time of the month is it, Suki?
that time of the month. That's just like that's part of and for people who don't necessarily play Hearthstone, it's every month everyone loses a shit ton of ranks and they go back to like rank 20 to 15ish, and so everyone wants to like go back to rank 1 again. And so if you go and log in right now, your opponents are going to be much harder to play against than if you log in at the end of the month. So like that also determines the metagame of the ladder. So it's crazy.
You should just play like the aggro deck in the beginning of the season.
Yeah,
That's
just like
always the
play
best
Hunter. Yeah.
Like Zoo or Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, there's the one guy who like as soon as the season changes, he's always the one to hit legend first, which basically just means he does nothing for like 36 hours except like play Hearthstone, and just he grabs the deck that has like a consistent.
Sorry.
How is Andy doing
Apparently Andy's gonna go kill a cricket.
Right, you can do it.
Doesn't he know? It's like, isn't that just like a well-known impossible thing to do? Or it's like a comedy act where you're like trying to find and kill the cricket, and like you feel like you killed it, and you're like yes, and then it's just like in the opposite corner.
I just feel like as he goes kill the cricket, like the cricket's gonna show up in his camera, just like up against the camera, like.
Oh my god! Wait, did you see the ads for that like horror movie that were like all the people were like on the cams, or it's called Unfriended or something?
Oh no! I was gonna go see it, but I didn't like horror movies very much.
It just made me think of that. Did you play through the Blackrock?
Yeah, I did. Some of those bosses were fun.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, they're getting better at those. Yeah. Certainly. I still feel like they're really easy, but I don't know. I think they're not designing for me.
Absolutely, they're easy and normal, and they're hard and heroic. So I think that's perfect. It's a good balance. There's the flow though is so bad. Oh my god, the fact that like the solo adventures are in their own part of the UI, and if you want to change the deck, you have to quit solo adventures. And the whole thing is you have to change the deck very often. Like, it makes heroic so boring to play.
Especially the ones that have so much dialogue in them.
I don't even want to talk about those. Like the guy who's like his whole deck is all legendaries.
Yeah, and he just announces every single person. You're just like, shut up!
It is the worst. I just no. That I don't know. That's where you can tell where definitely they went for good enough and not for polished on the heroic part of things.
Yeah. It seems like you would want to at least, I don't know, have some way to click through it or just not show it. I don't know.
To me, the deck management is the worst part, where you actually have like, because you're gonna lose very often, and you're gonna want to make minor tweaks, and sometimes you don't want to make minor tweaks because it's such a hassle to go on the UI. I wonder if
It's
you had it like
20 clicks.
Yeah, I know, to go like just to enter the deck editing.
I remember seeing a post on Reddit where someone literally took a screenshot of every screen. And it was just like, what the fuck? It was like 20 screens to change one card, or 20 clicks or something to change one card in your deck. Yeah, that's horrible. And you know what I do constantly when I'm changing the deck? I will, my muscle memory will just kick in, and I will like start a ladder match with the deck that I built for the heroic thing. So then I'm playing this like janky like priest deck with nothing but like 8 casting cost things in it. On the ladder, and like somehow you manage to win.
I know, and you're like, what is this game even? Like, what am I doing? Like, I feel like in the ladder, if you just play something that's completely out of the meta, you have like a 75% chance to win.
Yeah, it's shocking like how close like the matchups actually are.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if this comes from like past experience in other card games, but in general you feel like matchups are very like one-sided. But yeah, Hearthstone definitely not. It's like, I feel like it's hard to create a matchup that's actually pretty one-sided.
Yeah.
The only example I can think of is Freeze Mage versus Warrior. Right, Control Warrior. It's like the only one. it's like totally one-sided.
And there are a few that are heavily skewed, but in general, it's very well balanced.
I think that's because they've put so much focus on, or they want every deck to be like really minion focused, is my impression from just the way that they've been going with the design. Like, I don't think they really are advocating for spell heavy decks based on like all the interesting mechanics and whatnot are basically on minions, or like all the highest value cards are typically minions.
Yeah, I think that's mostly true, and I think you can't go like kind of like halfway on minions. Like either you go, maybe that's not true, but like Freeze Mage, like I often get like surprised, even though I've seen it a million times, of like how few minions Freeze Mage plays.
Oh yeah, I mean it's just like the Mad Scientist, the 1/3 Acolyte of Pain.
Yeah, and Doomsayers, and like Blood Hoarders, and I think that's it. And sometimes even the Blood Hoarders.
All right, I want to ask your opinion on the piloted. It's the Shredder, the 4-mana one.
Yeah.
What is your opinion on the fact that thing can basically get Wrath of God or Doomsayer? Like.
Oh, that you can get a Doomsayer off of it?
Yeah, I
love it.
I hate it. I don't know. It's like I'm like I get randomness and why it's good, but I just feel like that card, when it pulls up a Doomsayer, it just costs you the game because of it. You're just like,
yeah, no, I feel you. But I mean, it's the Doomsayer is like not the only thing, but it's almost the only thing you can get. So like for reference, there's a card in Hearthstone that it's like a creature magic. It's like a minion. You play it on the board. Once it dies, it summons a random 2-mana cost minion from the whole game. It can summon any 2-mana cost minion from the whole game, just straight onto the board, completely random. And like it can just happen that it summons a minion that destroys every other minion, and it can completely screw your board. It can completely save you. Like it's.
Wait, there's a 2-cost minion that destroys everything?
There's a 2-cost minion that says at the beginning of your turn, destroy everything. So if it makes it to your next turn, it'll destroy everything. So the other guy has to get a chance.
Okay, so
right.
I gotcha.
But like typically, this card is most primarily played in minion, like kind of mid-rangey or aggressive decks, because on statistically, it's a very high value card because most 2-mana minions have good or like whatever normal stats.
Right.
And when it gets like any minion of like a regular stat, it's like a complete amazing card. But occasionally it'll get these random cards that exist that you're just like, what the fuck? And like one of them is that it's this 07 card minion that costs 2 that if it survives to the next turn, it just destroys everything. So if it dies on your turn, there's nothing you can do to really get rid of it, and so you can't play another minion. And your opponent will just let it live. But if it happens on their turn, all your board is just cleared the next turn. So it's like there's nothing you can do about it when it happens. It's like a 1% chance, but it's a very real.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that in Ascension? Because there's a similar thing they did in Ascension where like they made digital expansions that like I hope they're only digital because in Ascension it would be a nightmare actually simulating this in real life, or doing this in real life. But there's a thing that's like grab any Enlightened card from outside of the game randomly and put it in. I forget which affiliation it has, but it's just like I don't know. It just like initially I thought I was like, oh man, that's so cool because it can get anything. And then the more I played with him, just like, this is all over the place. This is making the game just really stupid. And then eventually I just went back to like much more stable builds. But
my beef with that card and like some of the or many cards that they've created like this is that they're on like statistically they're the highest value cards in the game. Like they're really good. Just like over the course of the lifetime, they're really, really good. But they have randomness such that they're extremely high risk, which I don't feel like it's a great fit for a game like that.
Right. It's not like a gambling game or something.
It just feels. It feels out of place in a game where you're like trying to actually like implement strategy and outplay your opponent. When you're like, because if you don't play with those cards, you will lose to those cards. But like,
I think what it comes down to is it brings the randomness a little too close to the surface, right? Like, I mean, all card games are essentially random.
Right.
Like you can draw poorly, have a crappy opening hand, and you lost, and that's it. The Shredder, I think, just the randomness is too literal. It's too there. So it's literally like a die roll, grab a random minion, putting into play. So it makes it like it's not rare to see a Hearthstone tournament where the winner, it's like, oh my god, this guy won 3 series based on he rolled really well off his Shredders.
Right.
As you can see, like just as you can say, he won this tournament because like he had 3 series where like his Ragnaros, which is like a thing that deals 8 damage to a random thing in the board, hit like always what it had to hit, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a big thing in Hearthstone. It's just like I don't know. That's why a lot of people call Hearthstone Skillstone or whatever, right? It's just like so much skill. You played a thing that deals X damage at random, and it rolled high, and you won.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's sticky. I mean, they've embraced it, and it's fine.
Yeah, I don't.
I was going to ask if we could switch to a different.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Bring it.
Well, can you talk about your time travel game, the changes that you've made?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So the premise is kind of what I described before, where you're all kind of like you all play as these people in the modern day who you're all sort of inventors or scientists or whatever, but you haven't really gotten the prestige or the acclaim that you felt like that you've deserved. And so now that you all have time machines at your disposal, you're going back in time in order to take all the inventions that have been invented in the modern day, bring them to your past self, and have your past selves invent them, such that you will kind of come to the top of all the respective industries that you feel like you should be at the top of. And as you're kind of seeing the other players do this, you can also invest in those industries and kind of get a little bit ahead of the curve on getting a ton of, or you can just benefit from the industries that grow really big based on all these inventions that are happening earlier than they would have normally. So I've moved away from actually having like 6 different boards, and now I just have one board in the middle, and the main section of the board is the modern day, and then there's 5 smaller areas which sort of represent the past times. And the turn structure is drastically different, where so like you kind of bid for turn order. There are action cards that you draft, and then on a turn, you essentially can time travel to any number of times that you have enough time fuel for, and you do all of those kind of in one turn. And so you're going to decide like, oh, I'm going to go to time zone 1, 3, and 5, and then within that turn, you can drop off specs or drop off resources in really any order, or invent stuff. So you could say like, go to time zone 1, drop off a spec, go to time zone 3, invest in some industry, go to time zone 5, drop off a resource, and then use that resource that propagates all the way to 1 in order to invent something with the spec that you just dropped off. And so your turns are a little bit more like you do a lot of things on your turn as opposed to just trying to do like one thing. And you can kind of save up resources to have like a really big turn one time, or just like maybe you don't have a big turn because you don't have a lot of time fuel. Maybe you just had a big turn and you can only really go to 1 or 2 time zones. And so a lot of the things that I've and so basically each player will do this in sequence in a round. And so every round, every player will get a chance to kind of go back in time and do a bunch of stuff at once. And so I've made a lot of the inventions and action cards now to be like to affect the other players much more directly, in especially like on this turn. Chris Barrow is here. So like you could maybe invent something in the 3rd time zone that's like no one can invent any chemtech this turn, and so like no one can invent any chemtech from like time zone 3, 2, or 1, because now that invention is affecting all those later time zones essentially. And so there's a lot more tactics with respect to like trying to get the first turn and planning out your inventions, or and like how, if you have like a later turn, like your turn might get affected very seriously by someone else doing something on their turn. And while you're all just kind of competing to build up all the prestige from the inventions and the investments. And another mechanic that I really like in this version is that at the end of a round, there's like a pool of prestige that gets added to every industry based on where every single person past self is. So I've been like trying really hard to make that important in this game, and I found I like this way. And so at the end of a round, like every industry is going to have a bunch of prestige built up in the pool, and it builds up over like all the course of the rounds. And to claim that pool of prestige, the first player to invent an invention of that type in the past will claim it. So that's kind of a reason to go for the first turn. So you try and get back in time first, claim that prestige before the other players can.
Cool.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to play. I haven't play tested it yet, but I'm excited about the structure, and I think it'll be good.
Nice. Yeah, I like that you moved more to a system of just like flexibly being able to do whatever you want, and like having it seems like you have more of the small victories in your game now, where it's just like, oh, I saved up, and boom, here's an awesome turn. Like I I don't care if I
Yeah.
win or not, but like even if you don't win, you still feel good about doing that. It's cool.
Yeah, and you have so many opportunities to like build up these huge. You can like go for these massive turns, or you can like try and make smaller victories over the course of every turn. There's definitely reasons to do both, and it'll depend on like what you want to do.
Cool. There's so we'll just take a moment and recognize Chris Bell.
In the
Hello.
house.
Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Nice to see everyone's face. Just popping in, you know.
Just drop it in for a sec.
No, it's cool. I'm here until you guys stop.
Cool. You at the office?
I am. Sony Santa Monica. Yeah. There's no like ambient like weird buzzing or anything going on.
No.
There was a cricket, but we killed it.
No, I didn't get to kill it. You can probably still hear him. Do you still hear him?
No, we actually saw him as you were hunting for it. It came to the camera and said hi, and then it kept going.
So it sounded like Aaron has a new game that he's playtesting?
Yeah, it's the board game that I've been working on from. These guys helped me playtest the very first versions when they were here for GDC,
Cool.
and it's just still in progress.
Cool. Good to hear. We won't bring it back to there since you obviously are.
Let's do it again.
Mhm.
How's Edith?
Edith, what remains of Edith Finch? It's going well. We may have something at E3, maybe. So, what E3 is coming up in June. So, hopefully, be part of PlayStation's whole shenanigans. So it'll be fun.
Is it
Cool.
depending on like PlayStation, or depending on like whether or not you guys get a build or something?
Well, is this? I don't know who's watching this, so I don't know what I.
Oh, yeah.
There are
I mean-
6 people watching. Could be anyone.
There are
Yeah.
4 random viewers.
You
Four
should.
viewers, yeah.
Yeah, we're essentially in public.
Essentially, yeah. So, no, it really just comes down to just prepping for the event and trying to have something good to show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for you guys who don't know, Chris Bell is working on Half-Life 3, so he's currently.
Yeah. No, I'm working on a game for PlayStation 4 called What Remains of Edith Finch, in which you play as this girl, Edith, going back to her family home in Washington State, and sort of uncovering the stories of her past family members that have all passed away. And in so doing, you sort of jump into their shoes and play out their encounter with death. And each of these like sort of sub-stories about a different family member, where you play out from their perspective, is a different set of game mechanics. So it's like kind of like a collection of different games housed within this narrative frame about a girl going back and exploring the stories of her past family members.
Yeah, that sounds great. I actually had not heard that pitch before. That sounds delightful.
I like the name.
What Remains of Edith Finch, yeah. At one point it was called The Nightmares of Edith Finch, and I'm way happier. We changed
Good
it.
change. Good
Yeah,
change.
Aaron's played it or watched someone play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like
Secrets.
played it vicariously. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Anyhow.
Cool. What about you, Andy? I saw some pictures on your Twitter about some.
Oh yeah, so well, my connection freezes like really frequently on this thing, so much that like I might just. That's why I'm not talking much. That's why I might just drop out at some point. But so I had a time travel game a while ago that was like an abstract strategy game, and I tried it with Chris Bell, and he liked it, and we had a good game, and it was cool. But I put it on the back burner because like it was fiddly and had all these problems. Are you guys there?
Yeah, we're here.
Yeah, we're here.
No, because I look at you and like Francisco's face is frozen, and
I'm looking away.
like his face is actually just frozen, or he's like really good at biting that pen. I don't know. Anyway,
I'll just move continuously so you know.
so yeah, to be a card game because people couldn't get the movement and like time projection thing that was going on.
Ah, shit.
Oh. So I'll describe it. I can
Based
describe
on like.
Uh-oh.
So then, if you
Andy.
saw it, it's yeah.
Yeah, you're cutting out, man.
Hello.
You're cutting out.
Yeah.
You might just want to kill the video, and if that's going to help you.
Uh,
I can hear you okay now.
I can't. Come on, go.
hello?
Marco.
Marco.
I think
Andy.
yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, so it's a card game now, and you're doing the same thing you were doing in the other one, which I'll just describe to you now. So I'm calling it Solar Spies temporarily, and you are trying to. It's like a 2 to 4 player deduction game, and you're trying to be on the right planet in the right time as your opponents, so that you can kill them. Right? Just temporarily, we go to violence for the first version. And every turn, so you have these 8 cards which represent the planets of the solar system, and every turn you're going to do one of 3 actions. It's either going to be that you're going to move to a new planet, and then from that planet you're going to ask where your opponent is going to be on a certain day. Because you have like 8. If I'm on Jupiter, then that means I have to ask about turns 5 through 7, right? So I would say, where are you going to be on turn 5? And then if they don't know where they're going to be on turn 5 because they haven't been there yet, but then they can slot something in. But that means they have to go there on turn 5 then, right? So you're kind of like determining your future. And so once you know, like now you know they're on Jupiter, that means that you probably want to go to Jupiter on turn 5, and then they probably want to try to avoid you on that turn, but they're already going there. So one of the things that you can do is, and I'm totally stealing this term for now from Aaron, but you can collect time fuel on your turn, and then from a past version, you can you
Keep going.
you can no. So this was a thing before your time fuel was a thing. It just wasn't, there wasn't that name.
Did you time travel before so you could invent the time traveling game before Aaron?
Anyhow, so you use that stuff, you redeem it, and then you do a time jump, and so you can go either into the future or into the past. And what this does is, like, if you go into the future and you haven't been there yet, then you just slot something in and you say, this is where I am in the future, right? One of your 8 cards. If you have been there already, then you're just there, and maybe you're trying to avoid something from happening, or try and get into the future to influence, I don't know, different things, or maybe you want to get to a new planet to find out where someone is on a particular day and time that you couldn't have asked about before, you know, because each planet you can only ask about like 3 specific days from. Anyhow, if you go to the past, you can switch, and that influences where the planets are in the future. So, like, just imagine all this stuff happening on 8 slots, and there's a card in each slot. And you're just like jumping around to these different things, switching the planets, until eventually you get onto the right time and the right planet, and you use the action, which is, okay, I'm on Jupiter, and I'm gonna try and kill you. Are you on Jupiter on this day and time, right? And then they say, yes, I am, you won, or no, you're an idiot. Now I know that you're on Jupiter. I'm gonna try and get you there, right? So it's yeah, that's basically the game. It's much easier to explain if I have the cards on here, but yeah.
It's a cool game. I like the idea of like projecting into the future and determining like someone else's future, and then them trying to determine yours, so that you can sort of catch each other off guard and find these weird ways of sort of aligning on some weird day that's coming up.
Right.
It's interesting.
Well, what's interesting too is like well, so 2 things. We took out the thing where you like where you have to project as like a robot. There used to be this thing where it's like, oh, where are you on turn 7? Oh, I haven't been to turn 7 yet. Like you have to actually just move without having control. So I wanted to give the control back to the player so they can actually determine where they're going to be then. But you still get the interesting thing where you don't actually have to be synced up with your opponent to assassinate them, right? You just have to be wherever they were on a particular time. So like they might be on turn 7, but you kill them in turn 3 on that planet. So that's still kind of the core mechanic.
In your time travel rules, if you kill someone in the past, that all those future realities go away.
Yes, and actually, if you kill them,
that's game over, right?
Yeah, you just have to kill them in any planet and time, on that stuff around. But it kind of just depends on what the story's going to be. But there's this other thing that I'm toying around with, which is like another line of tension where if you get all of your 8 planets into the order of the solar system, then that might be like an alternate win condition. So if you're having trouble like chasing each other, then that could be a different way to win. Or like if you see that someone is going for that, then I don't know. I think it might add some more attention to the game, which would be nice.
It is, yeah. I understand this notion of like trying to catch each other. Like I'm chasing your tail and you're chasing mine, and it's just like this like looping, just like endless thing. And it's like nothing's really resolving itself, sort of thing.
Right. So it's like as that's going on, if you can kind of like here I'm going to turn on my video for a second. If you can kind of like do an American Gladiators thing where you're like boom and a boom and a boom, you're like hitting different switches, right? While someone's chasing you, you're like taking the balls and putting them into different hoops. Boom, boom. Anyway.
Can anyone see Andy? I can't.
No. That's the best part.
What do you mean? You can see my video?
This is boom and boom. I can just imagine you in a gladiator suit.
I just thought it was funny because you were like, "Oh, I need video for this."
My video
I think we're all laughing at the same thing, right? Please tell me we're all laughing at the same thing.
We're all laughing at the same thing.
Yeah, you didn't even wait for it to come on.
We still can't see you.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to back off.
Oh my god, it's too good.
Does the game have like a narrowing focus, where you're sort of uncovering where your opponent is in like particular times, or?
Yeah. Well, so you start off and all your 8 slots are blank, right? And so you shuffle up and you put one out, and that's where you start. That's your starting planet, which you know your opponent doesn't know. And then each turn you're taking those actions of moving planets, asking where they are on certain turns. Because you can imagine that each planet is sort of like has some sort of technology to determine where someone's going to be in the future or in the past, and that's why one only has its own coordinates and like ways of working. Again, it makes more sense if you could see me making my like askew arm hand.
It wouldn't make that much more sense.
Anyway, but yeah, so like it starts out all blank, and it does narrow over time. That's why it's the adoption.
Great. Well, it is cool. I did like it.
Cool. Oh, can I just like randomly jump to a different thing now?
Please.
Yeah.
Oh, can you see me?
No.
No.
Really?
Yeah. You're dead.
Still?
You're black. Blacker than night.
Damn. Okay. I guess I'll turn it off.
I'll jump to a thing.
What you got?
Speaking of time loops, I've been helping sort of. I don't know. I guess consulting is I guess consulting is the right word. I've been helping my friend Luis Antonio on his game 12 Minutes, which is, if you haven't heard about it, is sort of like a Groundhog's Day chamber drama with murder. So the whole thing is sort of you can look it up online, but I think it's 12minutesgame.com. It's friggin' amazing. But essentially, I'm super excited about it. But essentially, it's kind of like a real-time, kind of over-the-top, like click adventure game. Where all takes place in real time over the course of 12 minutes, and like you come home to your like apartment, and your like wife's in the bathroom, and she's like, singing to herself, and she's like making dinner, and when she finds out you're home, she's kind of acting a little sketchy, and then like come 8 o'clock, like there's a knock at the door, and a cop comes, and you end up you basically, stuff goes down and you either get knocked out or this or that and the other thing, and then you wake back up at the start of the day, and like you're back at the apartment and your wife's making dinner again, and it's this whole, basically, yeah, just a time loop. And so many games are time loops, like Mario. It's like you die, you restart, whatever. But this, he just does a really good job of having strong like narrative and just. You can kind of do it because it's such a constrained space and all takes place in an apartment. The problem with like adventure games, where it's like, can I do that? Oh no, you can't. Can I mix this thing? No, you can't. Instead, in here, because it's so constrained, it all takes place within basically a 3-room apartment. He basically allows you to do give you all of the affordances you would possibly want. So like, if you're like, can I do this? It's usually like, yeah, I can. So in that way, it's like it might not have any gameplay relevance. It have story relevance in terms of figuring out how do you break out of this loop, but it just feels like this like really interesting space to explore and experiment, and it ends up becoming really, really interesting. And you can sort of carry information over from one loop to the next, and that allows you to like if you're trying to convince your wife that the day is looping, it's like, well, how do you do that without her thinking you're crazy? And then how do you do that quicker the next time and sort of use your time more efficiently? It's really, really cool.
How do we play it? Does it cost money?
So it's not out yet, unfortunately. It probably won't be out for quite a while, but he has been showing it at different festivals like PAX and this and that. So if you're at one of these, I'm sure he'll have a booth. Lewis is super talented. He's also the 3D artist on The Witness. So while being the artist on The Witness, he's developing 12 Minutes at the same time. So
Cool.
It's just been really cool to play, and it's been awesome to just sort of. I think I've gotten to play parts in the game that no one else has gotten to, so I played really far, and that suddenly like here's this whole pot of questions that you didn't necessarily have play tested before. So it's been fun to just sort of talk about that stuff. But cool game. So if and when it comes out, by 12 Minutes. Mm-hmm.
Cool. So when the heck is The Witness coming out? Is it ever coming out?
Yeah, my guess is The Witness will be out in the next. I mean, I don't know. I don't work on it, but my guess is it sounds like things are wrapping up over there. So if I were to guess, it'll be out, summer. And it's kind of approaching, right? It is kind of summer, right? So maybe a few months is my hope. But
Christmas.
I remember playing The Witness like 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh yeah. I played it at PSX. It's really, really good. It kind of blew me away.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
I'm not gonna say a damn thing.
Did Spy Party ever come out?
No. No. These are the games but Spy Party continues to they release new footage of it all the time with new characters and environments and this and that. But yeah, that's another game. It's just Monday. Megakure is not out. All that that posse of dudes. No.
Wait, that game's not.
Yeah.
Fun?
No, Megakure is not out yet. Mm-hmm.
Wait, is it out in another dimension? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the future. You guys keep chatting. I'm gonna plug in my computer so it doesn't die.
Okay.
Ciao.
Yeah. You want to try your camera again, Andy? Boop.
Hello?
Man, I don't know what it is.
You don't see me?
No, you should leave it on. I think it'll. That happened before. I think it'll just appear at some point.
Yeah, when the internet decides that you have enough tubes.
Do you see me? Do you see me?
Nope. We'll let you know when we see you.
Yeah, we'll do a cry of celebration when we see you.
It's so beautiful.
I'm gonna head out in 10 minutes.
Yeah, me too.
It's almost bedtime.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
We should.
I finally finished the Talos Principle this week.
The what?
The Talos Principle?
What is?
Have you guys heard of it?
No.
Sounds familiar.
Oh, it's this great game. It's I've probably mentioned it before because I've been playing it I started playing it in December, and I just finally finished it. It's a first-person puzzle game. So you're kind of playing as a android, so it has a very Portal-esque feeling in that there's this overarching voice and sort of very philosophical, way more philosophical than Portal. And the puzzles are the mechanics are extremely simple, but the puzzles are very, very rich. Yeah, I think that there was only
Can you see that?
like 5 or
Oh.
6.
Hmm?
See what?
You can't
Sol
see
Black.
that.
Sorry, Andy.
Sol Black.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
I was presenting the Talos principle. Okay.
Yeah, I don't really want to like say too much about the story because like the kind of you pick up fragments of the story as you play the game, and you're sort of reading all these emails and hearing voicemails and all these sort of things that you're getting from this like these computer interfaces in the beginning of every level, and that's a strange noise, and it sort of becomes it becomes clear to you that the AI singularity has kind of happened, and that basically like all humans are dead, and as an android solving all these puzzles, contemplating your own existence, it's a little unclear how the game might possibly end. So I don't really want to say how it goes. But the philosophy is really intriguing and not heavy-handed, and the puzzles are extremely good. It's
I can vote up for Talos Principle. It's fantastic.
Yeah, very beautiful too.
We have a question on Twitter. Is there a cost?
A cost? Does the game cost money?
For Talos Principle?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Steam. I think
It's pretty
I got
expensive,
it on.
actually.
Yeah, I got it on sale at some point.
Mhm.
But it wasn't that much cheaper. I probably paid
There's
like
a lot.
$35.
There's a lot of game there, though. Like it takes a
Yeah.
while to beat, and the puzzles are, I really found it like at first I was like, what is this? I don't know if I like this. This is weird. And then over time, you really just start to like appreciate it and want more of it. And I didn't really want it to end.
Yeah.
Some of the puzzles, like, you just sort of linger around them, and you come back to them, and you put them down, you come back, and sometimes the game's even sort of interested in you kind of feeling like you're trying to break the game in order to complete certain things. It's like, you're hopping over a wall and it doesn't feel like you should possibly be getting over that way, but it's sort of, you kind of figure out what this robot or this android that you are that's capable of, and you can end up doing some really like sort of weird stuff that doesn't totally feel like you should be able to, but is totally what the game actually wants you to do.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And like, so I probably logged like between 15 to 20 hours to just beat the sort of main thread, but there's so much. There's actually like a ton of extra puzzle there, and again, like I'm trying to like not reveal too much about solving them, but the structures of the hidden puzzles are great, and I didn't even solve like I think half of them. So like it's definitely going to be a game where I'm going to go back and try and solve these like higher order puzzles when like I really want kind of a bigger challenge later. And it's like I'll probably solve like I don't know like 1 or 2 every time I go back because it'll probably take me that long. It'll take like a while to solve. So I feel like the game has a long life, even just.
It's kind of amazing that came from the creators of Serious Sam.
Oh, I know. That's like the big, like, everyone says that. It's like, what? How did you make this amazing thing?
They gave a great presentation at GDC where they were talking about the postmortem. And one of the coolest things they had is they had an in-world, like in-game bug tracking system where they could go around with their first-person controller, could like generate a piece of like text. It would like even generate like a Perforce, like or like a Jira task, and like. It was all in world, and you could go and you could like jump to the coordinates and it would like put you right where they are, and you could like describe, and they could like they just had this really simple way of just sort of annotation in game, and you could just jump to the place immediately and start playing where the bug.
That's amazing.
It was
That's
fantastic.
really good. Yeah, I mean, kudos to them. I mean, like, I'm really excited to see what they kind of come up with next.
And if you like the writing, Jonas Kiratsis is he's responsible for the games, the Land of Dreams games. There's these like sort of otherworldly click adventure games. The Land of Dreams, and he's did that, and he's done a couple others, but that's sort of his main series that he's probably most known for. He also had a really good, and maybe it's worth playing Talos Principle first, but if you ever listen to the Game Church podcast, his episode on Game Church podcast is actually quite good. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll check that out. So yeah, I beat it this week.
Yeah, I know. When I was playing Talos and like after I beat it, it's like all I could talk about.
I didn't want it to end either. Like I felt there was like definitely hesitation.
Yeah.
So
What were you saying, Andy?
Oh, when you went away, Chris, we were just saying that we're gonna head off in like a few minutes, like at 9.
Okay, that sounds fine. Okay.
/ midnight, I think he said.
Okay, right.
For those of us in the East Coast.
You're the only one in Pittsburgh. That's why you're the mayor.
I still forget that Andy is actually in LA. Like I saw him like once, and now he's just like gone. I just still think you're like off somewhere else, like Pittsburgh or whatever. But no, you're totally here.
Should be in Pittsburgh.
Oh right, yeah. Probably should. At this point, like Pittsburgh's looking more and more desirable. Things
I
get more
shall
expensive.
welcome you all when you come back.
And so I say I told you so.
Yeah, they're probably leaving. It's too popular now. So.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Nah, I would never say I told you so. This is the most beautiful, most awesome town in the world. You're all welcome.
Did you guys ever play Outer Wilds?
No, I even bought a controller.
Wow.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah. It's worth playing. Don't know anything going into it. Just have a controller. That's all you need. OuterWilds.com. Hit the download button.
What's the name of the game?
Outer Wilds. It actually won the Seamus. I shouldn't say too much. I shouldn't hype it. I love playing these games. I like playing these games that like are very cryptic and like they don't really hold your hand, and I feel like it's so easy and there's something about, I don't know, player agency or will or whatnot, where it's like, and I think this is true of almost any sort of content or thing that you can consume, is that if people are really excited about it and you come into it with all this anticipation, there's so much more like baggage that sort of taints your initial experience. If you come in not expecting much and it's just this curious little question mark that you are sort of digging into, I think you give it more time and patience. But like, for example, Starseed Pilgrim was one of these games that like I played it way before anyone knew anything about it, and I was super excited about it. But then like there was a whole slew of these people that came in after everyone was like praising it, and it's just like when the game is sort of cryptic or not really like showing you how interesting it is yet, or you haven't quite caught on to that, you just start becoming like very hostile or antagonistic to you. Like, why is this cool? Like, oh, here's like I'm not in the cool club because I don't like this thing, and it's like, no, like you don't realize like there's more there. Like, please be patient with it, but it's hard because you have all this stuff, people telling you that you're supposed to get it, and you just feel like an idiot or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
The hype machine.
So Outer Wilds isn't good at all. Yeah.
I believe you.
Okay, I'll forget about it in like
10 minutes. What game?
Yeah. Have you guys heard about a book called The Ship of Theseus or Theseus?
Oh yeah.
Have I?
Yeah.
Chris Bell bought me a copy.
Oh really? I just got it. Is it worth it? Should I put hours into it?
Neither Aaron or I have read it, so who knows?
No, I read it.
Oh, did you? Was it good?
Oh wait. I can't remember if we're.
Yeah, if it was good or not. Right. No.
Yeah, it's. Who knows?
Who knows? So for reference, this book is supposed to be a book that was passed back and forth between a few people, and they kept leaving notes in the margins for each other. So it looks like.
Yeah, like it's like a book that's like supposed to have come from the library.
Right. So it looks like this on the inside.
Mm-hmm. It's fantastic.
And it has a bunch of weird inserts that they also left for each other, like stuff like this. It's full of that type of stuff. So I love the concept. I'm like
Yeah.
a little lazy to actually go into it.
Yeah, I'm totally like you, Francisco. I just like appreciate. I hear like how the setup, and I'm just like, great, need to own that. And then I start reading it, and I'm like, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
But Aaron apparently read the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I read the whole thing. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was impressed. It has essentially two main narratives playing out. I mean, you have the book itself and what's happening like outside the book, and both of them are interesting. And I mean, I won't talk about the ending, but that was maybe my least favorite part about it.
Fair enough.
Cool. Yeah, I'm also like excited about. I'm not sure how to attack it, so I'm discovering as I go
Right.
what strategy I'm gonna take to actually.
Yeah,
consume
I had
this.
like, I did have anxiety when I was reading it because I'm like this person that like doesn't want anything to be out of place, and so like I was like always making sure that like the postcard was in the exact page where I found it, so that like because you, I suppose, are meant to digest these things in a specific order, and so if I ever want to show that to someone else, like it needs to be preserved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
I've decided I'm gonna read the whole book without looking at the margin notes,
Oh wow.
and then I'm gonna go through just like looking at the story so I can get the context of the book. I don't know. I think
Yeah,
that'll
good luck.
work.
I think that sounds like a horrible idea.
yeah, that's a bad idea. You're not gonna make it like 10 pages. I mean,
I already made it like 10 pages.
it's like all consuming. Like it's everywhere. You're gonna read it.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
you're
but
actually gonna do is you're gonna ruin the ending of that other story.
Really? So
Yeah.
it's
You're gonna
not
end- you're gonna-
meant
you're gonna
to be
end
read
up-
that way.
Because
I know,
you're gonna
They-
like
they're
accidentally
writing on
read
top of
stuff
it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
that you like.
But that sounds suboptimal. Like that sounds like the wrong way to me. Like to me, the right way seems to be that you want to know the context of the book first, so then you can experience the other story better.
Why?
I think they're just gonna like mix and melt because the thing is that you're not coming to this